Hello, everyone. How's it going? Dr. Incompetent here, and I'd like to do a list of my top 5 games of 2024 so far in March of 2024. So it's an early look at the year, but I've got 5 games that I've played that I think are fantastic, and I'd like to share with you and see what you think of, my evaluation, my ordering of these games, and also what I left off the list that you would recommend. Now, first of all, as we begin, just some caveats. This is going to be games that either came out of early access and into full release in 2024, or games that just came out, but they're in early access in 2024. So I'm kind of trying to keep it to games that either full released at the beginning portion of these 3 months, or they just became available in early access in this part of the year, 2024. So I'm kind of considering those my 2024 games. Also, I need to tell you that I'm only going to be able to put on this list games that I've actually played. So, for example, Helldivers 2 is apparently amazing, but I haven't played it. So it's not on my list, so it's an obvious omission, but I don't know how to evaluate it or how to rank it. So I hear that it's great, but I can't put it on the list because I haven't personally played it. These are all games that I have played, and I've played them on the channel. So in many cases, I have either Let's Plays of these or Let's Plays and guides for these games, and I will put links for those in the description below if you get inspired by one of the games and you want to go check out more on it, see more gameplay of it, or see my first impressions or learn how to play. All right. So with all that out of the way, and without further ado, we're going to do the list, and we're going to start with my number 5 game on the list and work up to number 1. Number 5 for me is Palworld. Palworld has been a sensation. It's been this game that kind of came out of nowhere. I didn't really know much about it at all, and it came out in January, and it took the world by storm. It was the first gaming event, positive gaming event of the year, I felt like, anyway. There's the controversy surrounding it for sure, but it was this kind of incredible moment where everybody was checking this out and being blown away, and it's in early access. It needs more time to cook, but what was cool about Palworld is how much felt done, polished, and exciting when you first played it. It was just so well articulated, such a good synergy of existing genre pieces. Now, for me personally, I've fallen off on interest with Palworld. It had a great surge at the beginning, and I played a ton of it when it came out, and then I kind of slowly lost interest in building more bases and collecting and breeding the pals and stuff like that. But that's just more a personal thing because I've never really been into monster collector games too much. It's not really my bag. But even though I'm not huge on that and, don't have a Pokemon pedigree or anything like that, I still enjoyed Palworld, and I think it's a great testament to what's possible. It's not a AAA title, and it still has time to cook and get better, and more things could be added that bring me back into it. But I gotta tell you, I was blown away with the game. I think it looks great. It's intuitive. It's fun to play. And I totally understand why others are still enjoying it. So that's my number 5 game of 2024 so far. Moving to number 4 on my list is Last Epoch. Boy, this game I was at first when I played it, I wasn't quite so sure. But then as I played it more, I realized it's not just a generic ARPG, Diablo clone. It is taking fantastic elements of both, Path of Exile and Diablo, and you also get some, Grim Dawn sentiment built into that, and bringing it together in a package that is just so much fun to play. It feels new and inventive. I love how you can specialize your skills. The customization of the character feels new, and for me personally, it actually has more of a draw and an appeal than Diablo 4. I love Diablo 4's cinematics, its presentation, its voice acting, its story, but as far as the gameplay, it was kind of all right, I've already done this, and I don't like generator spender too much anyway. Last Epoch, you feel like you have so many different builds, so many different options, and the loot tree, the world, all of this stuff is new. The idea of, the different ways that you can customize your character and your loadout, it just seems interesting and it's fun. I feel powerful and I'm shredding through stuff. You can totally customize the loot filter and on and on. So I think Last Epoch is a just amazing accomplishment for the beginning of the year, and it's like $35 USD, which is half the price of a AAA title, and it delivers so much fun, so many different builds. There are some elements that maybe it needs to fine-tune a bit, perhaps, but for me, it is great. I know it had a little bit of a hiccup at launch with some of the connectivity issues, but I've been playing offline and have had no problems and loving the game. So Last Epoch is my number 4 game of 2024 and is a fantastic ARPG. Moving up the list to number 3 is Pacific Drive. Pacific Drive is perhaps the most unique title so far of the year and probably of the whole year. You're never going to find a game where you're like, okay, you drive a station wagon and you're going to customize this station wagon as your rolling base, navigating supernatural zones in a kind of procedural roguelike extraction game with an amazing story, fantastic voice acting, totally cool style. This game has floored me. It's blown me away. It has rubbed me the wrong way with some of the design choices, like not being able to save and quit, but overall, I just think it's a great game. I think it's a fantastic achievement, and also it's $30 USD. It's great value. I should mention too at this point during the video, many of these games that I'm talking about, I have either done a review for or I will do a review for it, so you can see my grade for the game and if I recommend it, more of my evaluation of the game as it stands to not just 2024 games, but all games. And Pacific Drive is just one of those games that I really, really enjoy, and I look forward to playing it more. Moving from number 3 to number 2 is Enshrouded. I didn't know that much about Enshrouded. I saw some screenshots. It's in early access, so it needs time to cook. But boy, I was like, oh, okay, fine. It's just another survival crafting fantasy type of game. Builder. That's cool. Let's see what it's like. Within about 5 minutes, I was blown away by this game. It looks amazing. The controls are intuitive. It feels cool. The combat is good. The loot system, and bar none, the building in Enshrouded, for me, is probably the best articulated building system in a 3D over-the-shoulder kind of, well, you could play first person, but a 3D over-the-shoulder builder game like, you think about Fallout 4, you think about even Satisfactory, or just these games where you have an avatar and you're out there building. I guess Satisfactory is first person, but this is the best that I've seen. It's better than Power World's building, and they keep getting better at how they iterate. It's better than No Man's Sky, and not only is it better in terms of the ease of use, the functionality, the precision with which you can modify things, it just looks better. Now, I might be biased towards fantasy stuff, but the way it all comes together and it smartly meshes the corners and the rooftops, it is phenomenal. And that's just the building. The exploration is awesome. The world is cool. The story is fun. You get to put people into your home and unlock more functionality. You have some skill tree specialization. You're getting loots on a loot table with different rarities and different properties. There's just so many things happening in Enshrouded, and it does them really, really well. Now, as I said, it's early access. It does, in my opinion, need a little bit more time in the oven with some of its features, like a little more cooking and polishing on some stuff, but for the most part, what a great game Enshrouded is, and it's also not $70. And then finally, moving from Enshrouded at number 2 to my number 1 game so far of 2024, it is Batro. Batro, I was not sure what to make of it. It's like, okay, poker meets roguelike. All right, fine. I already played some poker roguelikes and enjoyed them, but didn't know what this was going to do. This game, of all the games on the list, is by far, for me, the most addicting of them. It's so much fun to play. I want to keep playing more. Now, you might not put this at number 1 if you don't like deck builders, but I think this is a game that anybody could enjoy and get into. It's got great music. It's $15, which is, the cheapest of these games on the list. And the value is phenomenal, through the roof. It also feels to me like it's one of the best deck builders that there has been. Now, granted, maybe as time wanes and the initial rush of addiction fades with the game, I might have a different opinion. And that's true for all of these things. It's not like I've had so much time with them that I have a complete picture, but I've played in these games enough to feel that they are all fantastic games in their own right, and we've had a real treasure trove of games in 2024. So I go Batro 1, Enshrouded 2, Pacific Drive 3, Last Epoch 4, Pow World 5. Now, of course, as I said, I haven't played Helldivers 2, but I understand that that's phenomenal. Given that, what do you think of my top 5 games and my ranking of them? What are your top 5 games? What is your game of the year so far? Where are your feelings with how I've evaluated these? Would you shift them around? And what did I forget? What did I leave off of the list besides Helldivers 2? Like, what do I need to look out for that's just been blowing you away in 2024 that either has come out in a full release in 2024 or is just launched in early access in these first 3 months? That's kind of the window I'm looking at. Now, as a bonus for sticking around so long, I would like to throw an honorable mention to Motto War as a game that I played that I'm keeping an eye on. It needs some more time, and it's in early access. It's just kind of in the very early phases, but I played this, and I did a video for the channel, and this was a RTS game where you control a living biological tentacle monster being that you get to modify and update as a roving base monster thing. And it was like such a cool spin on the genre, and I thought it was very promising title for the year. So I kind of throw that in as an under the radar game that you may have never heard of that you perhaps might want to look at. So I'll link the video to that as well. And in the description below, you're going to find links to my reviews, my Let's Plays, and my guides for these games, if I have them, in case you want to see more and make a decision on, should I pull the trigger and buy one of these games in 2024? Okay, everybody, that's my list so far, and who knows, I might do another list as the year goes on and I play more and more games, but that's where I'm at in the beginning of the year, and what a good year it has been. 2023 was actually also an insane year for gaming when you think about all of the fantastic titles that launched then, and 2024 is looking good too. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I'll check you next time. Take care.